1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The bucolic sound of
It's actually really nice here with all the birds and everything.
Mile End Park. Yeah, so half of the pond is frozen, and there's some seagulls gingerly kind of tiptoeing their way across the ice, but there's some open water. So, John, this is your lunch break.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've kindly agreed to meet me. So last time we've met once before, I passed you were playing a tin whistle
Yeah, that's correct.
at lunchtime, and we started and had a brief chat. Is that your standard lunchtime wind down to empty your mind of work, or was that a one-off?
No, definitely. The tin whistle really helps me to kind of clear my head. So whenever I've got a chance, I play, and that is lunchtime. Really, is the best time to do that during the workday.
There's this thing that we do at lunch where we scroll phones or chat to people. Sometimes it's quite difficult to actually escape from work, isn't it? Actually, doing a tin whistle thing probably does empty your mind. So the tunes you play on your tin whistle, do you make them up? Are you practicing tunes that you know?
Yeah, so tin whistle is generally a sort of Irish music instrument. So I play mainly Irish tunes that I've kind of taught myself, memorised. And I guess I have a bit of a practice. I'm kind of like trying to remember what I've learnt recently. And I'm also playing because I really enjoy it. So I guess it's a practice performance session at the same time.
Does it matter if you get a tune right, or can you be a bit creative and fiddle around with it and make it your own in a way? Is that how the folk music works with the tin whistle? Or
Yeah, I think that's something that, I mean, since I started playing, is something that I've always thought about, because a lot of my playing has kind of freed me from that idea that there's a right and wrong way of playing. And I think Irish music, traditional music or folk music, that's really what it's all about. It's much more about playing music with other people and sort of bringing the tune out, whatever that tune is. And there's not really a standard written down rule version of how you should play. And so it's really good playing in that tradition because, you can kind of do what you want and really express yourself.
there's also that thing that when you tell a story, say you're down the pub with your mates and you tell a story, you add a few embellishments for the laughs, you make it a bit richer than it was, and I suppose that's kind of the same you do when you play the same tune again and again. You add a few added extras just to, I don't know, enrich it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a massive part of Irish music, and actually there's not one kind of Irish music, I guess. There's lots of different ones, and you can play within a tradition and play certain embellishments at certain times and do certain tricks, or change the rhythm slightly, or I like, I'm not that good yet, so I kind of just do what feels right, and that definitely is a big part of it too. People, they play what they feel is right. If that's the right moment in the tune to do something different, then you do it. And I'd say it's encouraged, and everyone should do that when they play an instrument.
There's also, you mentioned the fact that you play with other people, and then you mentioned the fact that you don't feel that you're good enough yet. Although I'm sure that's a movable goal. You're better than some, but not as good as others. When you go to play with other people, everyone's at a different level. How do you find the middle bit where you all kind of work together and you can all synchronise into a tune? Because some people will be feeling a bit left behind and some people will be finding it very easy. Is there a kind of a natural synchronicity that comes into a folk session?
Yes, yeah. And I mean, I'm self-taught. I haven't been playing as long for as a lot of people. It's really about tuning in and getting in sync with the other players, not only in terms of the rhythm or the right notes or whatever, but it's about being in that place together and creating something together. And it's very, very sociable in a way that I'd never experienced before, socializing with people through music rather than say through talking or through.
Oh, that's interesting. So after each tune, you'll put the instruments down, or.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, an Irish session. I played them in London and once in Belfast, but it really is. Someone leads it, but then people are encouraged to kind of contribute a tune. Sometimes it just falls silent and someone will pick up their instrument and either bash something out, and then everyone will feel inspired and play, or sometimes they just play that tune and everyone just listens and enjoys them playing their own music, their own way.
So there's a kind of built-in respect to a folk session where everyone gets their say, everyone gets their way with their instrument. Because I'm assuming it also might reflect the character. Some people might be more showy.
Yeah.
Some people might be a bit more kind of shy about how they play.
Yeah, I think for me, because I'm super shy about playing, because I also played played on my own for a lot. Never played in front of other people. Last year was actually the first time I ever played in a session or in front of other people. So it's because the other musicians in the session, some of them were incredibly good and rightly were showy and proud of what they could do. Big respect to them.
So did you add in, put down your whistle or pick it up as you saw fit to add in a few? Did you slowly get into the session? Because that first session, tell us about that first session. You walk into a pub, you say, I brought a whistle with me, can I join in? Do they say, hey old fellow, well met, or do they say how good you are? What's the starting point?
I could only say from my experience, but yeah, I walked in, I was super nervous, I kind of listened for a bit. But the music was so good that I plucked up the courage to just go up to them and say, I've got my whistle, would you mind if I joined you? And they said, of course. And then
fantastic.
I've made it very clear that I wasn't very good and I was new to it all. And everyone was so accommodating, they made me feel so welcome, that I felt comfortable, joining in with the tune. I even felt comfortable getting it wrong, and, figuring out how to play with other people. And it was very much due to the really sort of very kind and welcoming environment that these sessions do create. I think as you get to know the people there, you do realise there's some big personalities, big characters, and you might annoy someone when you get it wrong on the whistle. But I think that's what, in my experience, that's what Irish music is all about, actually.
You say it's Irish, so Scottish and Welsh Celtic music don't have such a strong tradition with the whistle.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's right. Yeah,
I have only heard, when I've heard folk music, it has generally been Irish tunes where the whistle is rather than Scottish. But
yes, definitely. It's actually originally an English instrument.
Okay.
So it exists. There's sort of English folk tunes, but it's spread. It's also known as a penny whistle. They were very cheap.
Right.
So they spread very easily, I guess. There was a big uptake in Ireland where people were poor and they had a massive music tradition, and it fills in an area of Irish music. It fits in very well in those higher octaves. It really adds something to the Irish music tradition, I think. So you fit in naturally with it.
And you picked it up, of all the instruments to play, you picked it up because it fits in your pocket. What was the initial thing that drew you to that particular instrument?
I think I'm lucky because I guess I believe that everyone has a sort of instrument for them that's out there, that it does exist, and luckily for me, it was the tin whistle. I do like the fact that it's very practical, that there's no barrier to entry because they cost so little. They're so simple to play. You can get out a tune in a day and feel like you've actually improved and learned something.
It's how many holes are there on the tin whistle? Is it 8?
No, there's 6 holes.
6 holes. Okay, so there's only 6 ways you can put your fingers.
Yeah.
Although there's probably many variations of how you bend a note and change an octave.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's two octaves, so you blow harder. You can bend notes. You can half hole notes. There's 6 holes, but you can have fully open. So technically, I guess there's 7 sounds in there that it can do in its most basic, the most basic way it's played.
Yeah.
But actually, I find it to be what I find beautiful about the tin whistle is because it's so simple. You can really hear the person playing it. Not in the sense you can hear them breathing. You can sometimes.
You can hear the character coming through.
The character of the person playing comes out. It's directly connected to the person themselves because it's your breath that you're modulating and playing with. So it's almost like a new voice that you get, which I think that's what makes it really special to me.
Now we're walking along Regent's Canal. It's a cold day, some of the canal is frozen. This is your lunch break. You've crossed the water from where you work. You work in the university, is that right?
Yeah.
Is the tin whistle playing and your work two completely different worlds?
Yes, I mean, I definitely find that. I think that's a wonderful thing about Irish music, the sort of welcoming nature of it. But also, it is a completely different universe and world. And when I'm playing the tin whistle, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, the music itself and where it comes from and how it was created. Often songs have these complex histories to them, which encapsulate, you know, either the person who wrote it or the area that it came from, or the story that the music, that the tune itself is perhaps trying to tell.
So there's a whole history to some of the tunes.
Oh yeah. It's amazing, and people have a lot of very strong opinions because it's all
Right, okay.
it's all oral. It's not written down, or it might have been written down once in a book that someone composed it.
And your world in the university, what is that world? Is it a cloistered and quiet and academic kind of vibe, or what kind of environment are you working in?
Well, I work in professional services, not academia, so.
Right.
But yes, it's a world of. I'd say it's a world of writing and cloistered quietness, and, you know, complex thoughts being expressed in simple words.
So are you problem solving? Is that what your job is?
Well, I mean, there is problem
sense.
solving. I see. I mean, you know, the way I'd like to see my quite boring office job as a sort of, I'm creative. I write, so I write social media. I write content. You know, I commission photographs. I commission video. You know, I do all these things. I like to think that I'm being super creative, but fundamentally, I'm sitting down and writing things.
But it sounds creative because you've got lots of mediums there. Are
Yeah.
you also corralling other people's creative thoughts? Is it all coming out of you, or are you getting people together and going, can we make this work in a sort of group way?
No, I mean, I definitely do it that way. Like, I think creativity is collaborative, which is perhaps another reason why the Irish music is so wonderful, because playing with other people is you're creating something together. So yeah, no, totally. I'm a very collaborative person in my work.
So give us, we're just going past the lock, which is why there's loads of running water. There's a boat passing through the lock. Give us a kind of general example of what you do in a day or in a week or in a morning in terms of saying, right, we got these things or we haven't got these things.
Yeah.
Now chat, guys.
Afraid not, because we're just having a recorded chat. Thank you anyway.
Okay.
That's the Canal and Rivers Trust stopping us to try and get us to sign up. Yeah. So what did you have to? What's today involved for you?
Well, because it's actually a new job. I've actually been spending way too much time thinking, doing strategy. So it's a lot of planning and imagining, trying to, you know, imagine.
Is that quite daunting sometimes? When you're kind of on your own,
Yes.
sort of scheming ahead.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that's why you know, I don't know if you want me to talk about strategy, but I think that's why strategy is so hard, because you kind of come up with this future, and then it's on you to make that future real. And you have to kind of believe in yourself a lot to be able to do that, because you don't know what the future is going to be. So you kind of have to trust in your skills and your flexibility and adaptability to be able to get to that point. Knowing that point doesn't exist.
I'm assuming also that there's that thing, if you're creating a future strategy, you can't be too ambitious, otherwise you won't reach it, and then you'll feel that you failed. So it's got to be achievable. So you've got to know gradually, bit by bit, what you can achieve and what you can't. Is that part of strategy?
Definitely, yeah. So balancing things out and thinking, how far will this go? Will it actually succeed, or is it something that I need to do that's going to fail that will enable me then to go on to the next step that I can't see yet from this position?
Oh, learning to fail. How good are you at failing? Are you a professional failure?
Well, to go back to the music, I think I used to feel pretty bad about making mistakes.
Right.
A lot of self-criticism, and the music has helped me to kind of work on that and become much better at making mistakes and learning from mistakes.
Oh, that's interesting. So there's a kind of a cross-fertilisation there. I think we're all worried about making mistakes. I'm worried about making mistakes. And you kind of, when you make a mistake, there's just a natural physical thing where you go, oh God, or, you kind of cuss yourself.
Yeah.
But your music has freed you up a bit. And when we're back in the strategy, when you're kind of work out what does work and what doesn't, does your work, your management structure, whatever the objectives are, does it allow failure? Does it matter at work?
Yeah.
If you go, oh well, let's try another thing, that didn't work. Or do some people go, that's not good enough, John. You know, we need more success.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of why I think work is so stressful. For me, definitely, I think the main person saying you've made a mistake, I'm saying that to myself, and no one really minds or sees it that way. And so, yeah, I think, when I play music for myself and I make a mistake, my initial reaction always used to be, you idiot, why can't you do it? And that sounds harsh, and I'm quite harsh on myself, but I try not to do that anymore. But like, why did you do that? You've practiced this 100 times, why are you getting it wrong? But now it's much more like, think bad things happen. No one heard this, so who is saying this is wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one is listening. It's gone in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
In that instant, how can you be left with the feeling that something is right or wrong? There is no right and wrong. It's just how it was played in that moment.
It's also interesting how this inbuilt self-criticism is so much part of us. It's a common trait that many of us have. Where does it come from? Does it come from school? Is it because we're educated to get things right? There is a right and there is a wrong when you're at school. Is that the basis of it? I'm trying to think off the top of my head why we're so self-critical, or why we think we can do better. Maybe overconfidence. I don't know.
I mean, I think there's different ways to look at it. I think part of it for me is I like to do things better and I like to improve, and I think that love of learning, as I see it, is something wonderful that people lose as they get older. I don't know why they lose it, but I do feel there's a sense of loss.
Or there's a loss of curiosity.
A loss of curiosity, exactly, yeah. A sort of loss of openness and these things. So I think, it partly comes, that wanting to get things right comes from that, because you want to learn, you're curious, you want to gain more, you want to have more. But I think, there isn't really right or wrong, for a lot of things, and that is imposed on us from, to make it political, sort of oppressive political and social structures. They tell you the right way to be say something or do something. But
and if you think the other way, then people go, you're an idiot for thinking that, because you're not thinking in the right way, quotation marks.
Exactly.
Your own sense of sort of freeing up the self-criticism, you said you were a shy player with the group, etc. So do you kind of go slowly into things rather than bring out the trumpets and say, here I am, ta-da? You someone who kind of works their way into a situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that I recognised in myself, and I think maybe that's why I failed at, well, not failed, but I wasn't ready to play music previously, is because I wanted to be able to play everything perfectly, whatever perfectly means. I wanted to be able to play everything perfectly immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And because I love the sound of it, I love the sound of music, I love the sound of the tin whistle, I love that sound. I want to reproduce it, I want to hear it all the time.
Yeah. When you hear a great player, you're like, that's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. And then I do one note and it's just, you've already ruined it. And so you get, but I think that's partly when I was younger. That is kind of like, I see younger people, maybe I see myself in them, and I'm like, I used to be like that, head first, crashing and bashing, trying to make it the best thing ever without realizing that, everything is it's a process that we all go through. And if we really want that outcome at the end, we have to recognize that you have to do it in your own way and in your own time. And I'm saying that partly because playing the music this way has taught me this, but also partly because I decided that I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to learn something in a different way without anyone else conducting that for me, where I learn it on my terms.
Right. That's interesting. So kind of trusting yourself, building your own foundation was important to future development of your confidence. You kind of recognise that in a way.
Yeah.
Going back to the sort of perfection thing too, is it not the case, since you're involved with social media and putting kind of videos or things out on those kind of platforms, that aren't we rejecting the whole perfection thing, and isn't there sort of a counter await now where it's much more it's much more popular now to make things a bit rough edged, a bit natural, a bit out of focus, and that naturalness to what we put out on social media is applauded, and people go, that's real.
Yeah.
Is that something that you also try and practice with your work? You don't try and make a perfected, polished end product with what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely, and I think I see it as a sort of procedural thing. It's something that, you know, say you create a video or something, and it's not finished until everyone has finished watching it. In a way, like it's an ongoing thing that changes as perceptions of it change and individual views come on it, look at it and interpret it in different ways, and only when you've got enough feedback from a lot of people can then you then begin to understand it in a sort of finished way. But that sounds very abstract.
I mean, there's also an extra complicated layer of, are you artificially creating unreality or imperfection?
Yeah.
So you create a perfection and then you slightly rough it, or
oh, that's interesting.
do you know it's by trying to not be perfect. It's a bit like the argument. A friend of mine who is a farmer, and he talks about something in farming now which is quite popular. It's called rewilding, where you leave the land alone to do its own thing.
Yeah.
But he says, you know, philosophically, the whole premise of rewilding is artificial because it involves farmers not doing anything. So there's a conscious decision, as it were.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is it possible to be genuinely real in what we create because we are creating?
I mean, in my opinion, like reality and art and all forms of art, whether it's an email or a painting or a video or a piece of music, like they are two separate things in their very nature. I think they're sort of art or media is a reflection of reality, and therefore it can never be reality. But you can explore reality through those things, like putting on a pair of binoculars. That's going to distort what you see when you don't have the binoculars, but you can still see more details in what you're seeing. If you see what I mean, it's complicated, but that's kind of how I see things. So I think I want to give the impression of reality, knowing that I can't give reality. You know?
Yeah, because it is by its very nature of creation. I suddenly felt I had to tune into what you were saying and really concentrate on those different levels.
Well, I mean, I do spend quite a lot of time thinking, as I said. So sorry, you're giving me the opportunity to really.
Well, do you know what? You're lucky that you've got lots of thinking time. I think thinking time is a luxury for many people, given the types of work they do. Let's say you work, I don't know, in a busy bakery or something where there's lots of physical movement and you're just going from process to process. You're thinking, but you're thinking on the hoof. Yeah. So you can sit down and thinking time is built into your job spec.
Yeah.
Although that probably didn't come up in the job interview.
I hope they don't hear
say, how good are you at thinking?
My job is thinking. I hope they don't think that, but they don't realise that. But.
So, given what we've said so far, how do you know if you're doing a good job?
Yeah, that's really tough. I think, I set things that are, I like to think, are objective measures. So things that are not coming from me, like, that made me feel satisfied, so it must be a good job. So I say things like, well, I don't know, if 20 people click on this, then it's a success and I can move on from that. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of it. I mean, for me, a big part is listening to feedback, listening to what other people have to say about what I do. So I think that's really, really important. I think in my work, but I think in everything that we do, because then you can improve and get better and have more of an impact. So I'd say those are probably the sort of subjective satisfaction, measuring the success through measurables, as they say, and then hearing feedback from others.
Should we cross over to the other side? I can see we're just on the top of Vicky Park, where some people are on benches enjoying the warm sunshine, and I feel we should leave them to their thoughts
Yeah.
while they have their lunch breaks, warming up. So the music, the job, there's a lot of positive forwards with what you've been saying. Are there moments of walking backwards, feeling down, not sure of yourself? Is that also part of the mix of the daily life of John? Or are you forever on an upward trajectory?
Well, I mean, I think, obviously the context to all of this is last year I made a very difficult decision about myself and my life that was very successful.
Great.
So I took a big risk.
Wonderful.
I assessed the risk. I looked at it. I said, I trust in myself. I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the outcome will be, but I think it's going to be positive. And I did it. And I was very lucky. I had a very good year last year. In terms of, I just quit a job without having another job to go to.
Uh-huh.
Money was limited. It was going to run out. I needed a job before then, but I also needed some time off to think about things and to get things right and to focus on what's important. And I did all of that, and I got a job that couldn't have asked for more.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I'm kind of like in a good point. So I'm glad that I'm sounding positive, because there are definitely negative things that I can say as well. So that's the feedback I'm talking about.
But that's brilliant. Well done you for taking a risk and making it work, because it's not just luck. You took the risk and you made sure it worked.
Yeah.
The points of doubt. You mentioned earlier on in the conversation something about sort of believing in yourself. You must have made that initial decision having a certain amount of self-belief. You wouldn't have made that decision if you were just not sure what was going to happen, but you must have thought, whatever happens, I can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so much whatever happens, I can make it work. It was more like, these are some scenarios that I could grasp right now, and I hope these cases are going to happen because I can be ready for them. But I have to factor into the equation that there are things that are going to happen that I'm not ready for and I can't deal with right now. But when it happens, I have the knowledge and the skills, and I've got to say the love and support of family and friends who will help me through this difficult time.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's it. That's interesting. So love of family and friends is part of that confidence, knowing that they've got your back.
Yeah.
And they are kind of what's important in life.
Yeah. And that they give me a strength that I can't give myself. So I am strong.
Yeah.
I'm not weak.
Yeah,
It's not like I need other people in this because I'm weak.
Yeah.
I need other people because they make me stronger.
Mm-hmm. What was it about the previous thing that you got to the point where I can make a decision to get out of this? Was it a boredom thing? Was it a I'm not being challenged thing? Was it this is too hard thing?
I think honestly it was just everything. It was all those things, as you said. I mean, it was a very toxic work environment that wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
And wasn't working for anyone else in the organisation.
Yeah.
It was very hard to do work and to have professional relationships with people because of that. And it just there were just some really low points that I just one day I was like, you know what, nothing in particular happened. I just thought, you know what, I've reached my limit.
You just turned a corner.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
just like,
done.
actually there is an alternative.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to kind of exist with those kind of situations for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's at work, you kind of sit with it for a while.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, one day, and it can be something triggers it, or it can be you just turn a corner, and you just like you're in a different place where you're like, actually, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and
there's something else I can do with my life.
And I think what music taught me, and luckily, maybe I taught myself. I don't know what came out through playing music, is that depends entirely on you. For one person, they might within a month be like, no way, I'm finished with this shit.
Yeah.
And for me, it took 2.5 years of it, but
so,
for
right,
someone
so
else,
you sat with it for 2.5 years before you turned the corner.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would, you know what? You mentioned the music. I'd really like to have heard what you were playing before, during, and after. I wonder if your music reflected these changes you were going through?
What's funny is there was a tune that I played a lot that made me think of one person in particular that I didn't like. And it was odd because I like the tune and I would think of that person when I played it, and I would think, why am I thinking of this tune, of this person while I play this tune?
Oh God, they're linked to it now forever. Oh, damn it. So do you still play that tune? Or have you freed yourself?
What's weird is I can't remember which tune it is now.
Oh.
That's very odd. I mean, I will. When I
good.
play it, I'll definitely remember it, but I have to cycle through all of them.
That is a conscious... I love that. That's a sort of conscious, unconscious blocking.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh, lucky you, John. You've made a decision. It's worked out for you. And that has strengthened your self-confidence because it means you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I can say, like, I sound positive. I think that's it, I kind of tested myself in a way that was mature and thought out, so I knew that if it doesn't work, it's okay, like, I'm going to get something out of this anyway. And I got what I had hoped, so...
I think lots of people listening will think, I know what John's talking about, I've kind of been there, should we go up there?
Yeah.
I've kind of been there, but I'm at a different place. Are there any kind of life lessons to impart? This I have learnt from the process that you'd say to a sort of a general audience, like, these things kind of worked for me?
I mean, I think the secret is not necessarily the things themselves, but you've got to get it right in lots, or have the right things in the right areas. So for me, I was like, my relationships are very important, so I'm going to work on my relationships, and improve those while I'm doing this, or music is very important, so I'm going to work on music because that does something good for me. But at the same time, if someone else has other things that they need to do for themselves, then that's what you should do. And the more that you do, the more you do positive things like that, like music, I mean sport as well, like going to the gym is a really positive thing in my life. Like, doing all those things together is what helped me to kind of have the strength and the courage.
So have a mixed basket of things that you feel good about yourself, that you're working on.
Yeah.
Not just pin it all on one thing.
Yeah. And I think, and then I'd say part of that process is figuring out what's important to you. And so,
that's really difficult.
That's where the thinking time comes in. That's
and I'm
where
assuming you haven't thought out what's important for you in the whole of life. You just thought about where you are now in this phase.
Exactly, in that time, in that context.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
this is now.
With music in particular, came to music a bit earlier than the Tin Whistle, but that definitely was something. I was like, what do I need in my life now? I want something new. I want something interesting, and I got into music, and I guess maybe that taught me that, like, I need to look for the things that I think are important, because I'm not sure what they are and I have to figure it out for myself. Mm-hmm. So part of quitting my job was like, I'm going to give myself some time to not work, to not worry about money, to not worry about anything, and to actually think about what's important for me, so that I'm ready to move on. But that's the thinking, that's and having the time, that it's a luxury, and I accept that was a privilege.
Is there not also a danger at that point, if you don't have things to do in your life, you might start to drift? So you've got to have some projects, you've got to have some positivity every day that keeps you feeling good. Because if you sit there going, right, I'm just going to sit here and try and something magically will come to me, and it might not work, and you might start to sort of slip down rather than go up.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens. I wish it didn't happen that way, but I think knowing that that's not how things work is a really important part of it. And that's, I guess, maybe it's hard. Like, there were definitely difficult, like, it wasn't an easy time last year, like, but I did well, I think I asked myself, like, what happens if I do let myself go down to those lower points, and look at it in a way where I'm like, if I ever do go a bit too low, I still have a partner, a family, friends all over the world, I still have these things, even if I feel so lonely and alone and afraid, and that kind of like allowed me to go deeper, but also made me feel more secure, I guess.
So you have a partner?
Yeah.
Were they part of the process of what was going on? Or was it a completely singular thing that you could share a little bit, but you weren't going to lean on them and say to them, can you help me through this?
Yeah, I think that's definitely without her. Like, she made it. She was there for me when I needed her, but it wasn't like I knew that I couldn't need her all the time, and that I needed to do stuff for me, like playing music and on my own and doing stuff on my own and thinking about these things. Because fundamentally, like, I guess I let myself become a bit selfish, and she, supported me through that and allowed me believing it, and she believed in me too, So, and that was really great, to have someone believe in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you could do it, and
so when she turns around to you next month and goes, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go through the same kind of process, you're going to go,
hell yes. I'm going to be like, I say that, I mean, honestly, like, I know a lot of people in London who are going through a really hard time at work for many different reasons, and many reasons the same as me. And I think, like, it wasn't a decision where it wasn't just emotional, it wasn't just reactive. But I recognise, like, having money, having somewhere to live is part of this, and you should do those calculations and work out how long you can go, for you.
Have the safety net.
Have the safety net. Work it out how you're going to do that, and all of that process of doing that makes it work, because then you understand your limits, you understand what you can and can't do, and then that's part of it. And then if you're ready for everything else, then you should. My advice would be, if you're in that position, leave that job, quit that job, and go and do something. Find out what's important and do that, and then when you're ready, you can find another job.
That's a positive message, especially at the beginning of the year. We're now at the beginning of January. It's very kind of cool to say I'm not going to make any resolutions, but actually it's the start of the year is a natural refresh point when everyone goes, okay, another year.
Yeah.
I've got, let's start again.
Yeah.
A point of change. Now, do you have your tin whistle on you?
Yes.
I knew this moment would come.
Would you like to play it?
Go on, I'll try.
Let's go to that.
Yeah, and
let's go to that bench where I first went past you.
Right.
Oh, don't worry about for me, don't worry about the wind.
Well, the sound, it might blow the sound out a bit, but I'll give it a go.
I will adjust the microphone accordingly. Have you got warm enough fingers?
Yeah, the hands are fine.
The dexterity.
Yeah, it's the cold that really hurts it.
So you're going to sit at a bench. This is where I first bumped into you. The tin whistle is about a foot long. It's copper, brassy in colour. It's got a little plastic bit where you blow in, and then the holes are of different sizes. So I'm assuming they're like that because they're specifically making notes.
Yeah, it's like there's really complex mathematics about all of this, but
got you.
It's to fit it in a scale that people can play.
Nice. Take it away. Let's see what happens. When you're playing, do you have what have you got in your mind? Is your mind blank when you're playing? You're looking out at a pond, some geese and pigeons and ducks. Do you see them, or are you just seeing the notes in your head as you're going through the tune?
I think I don't know. Sometimes I'm just looking and the music just plays along and my fingers just go. Sometimes I'm concentrating really hard on what I'm playing and like trying to make sure that I get it right. Like I hit the right notes according to how I've learned it. And sometimes it's like everything at once. I think the best moments when I've played, I have to say, was actually the first time I played at a session. And I was so nervous and I'd never played in front of people, and just this tune that I kind of half knew came up. And I don't know what happened, but at one point I just found myself, I'd never played like that before, and actually now I know this is something I need to do. My hands were just, fingers and everything was just relaxed. It was like the whistle was just floating in my mouth, and I was just playing, and I was amazing. Just suddenly had this awareness that came from the tune that I was just playing along. And I was like, wow, I can do this.
So it was like your fingers were dancing on their own,
Yeah.
and the tune was just leading you.
yeah, and
That's
I was
the
just
sweet
there.
spot, isn't it? Oh, that's amazing.
It was
So,
really-
so you kind of have that in your mind's eye when you're playing. Sometimes you're like, can I reach that moment again?
Yeah, I think that's how really good musicians play. Like they're able to relax themselves completely, to the point where they're all the different bits of their brain and their body for any instrument just kind of like locks up into in sync, and kind of you don't need to be super conscious about what you're doing because everything it's all working together. It's got that rhythm carrying it forwards.
Does the tin whistle also hold a tune which is mournful and which is slow, like an air or like a lament? Is that also part of what the penny whistle does?
Yeah. So that's something that I'm starting to learn now. There's a couple of slower tunes that I've memorized. I'm learning some airs right now, which sound incredibly beautiful. Yeah, I mean, let me think of. I just need to think. I can play one, sadder one, slower one.